Right, this is the end product after I've left it 24 hours to dry to make sure it's cured properly. Now what I'd advise, it is a chrome finish, and what you're going to want to do is polish it back as close as you can to that chrome finish. Now I seem to do it, I'll do it in a couple of stages. You'll find out I've just used some 1200 grit wet and dry. Make sure it's wet, make sure it's wet. It don't clog up as much like that. So it's just a case of then you need to magic rub. Now you're not putting real pressure on it, it's just basically just weight. You're just using weight of your thumb, and you'll see that it's actually scratching all the chrome. But don't worry about that, because they're all polished back up. And you just keep going at it, and maybe 5 minutes. Just keep wetting your cloth. Make sure that you're putting it in your water and not in your brew. Until you come up with a finish like this. And you can see all paint's come off, and then you're just left with the actual inlay of whatever colour you choose. I've chose red. My bike's red and chrome, but you know what I mean. So it's just a case of just giving it, making sure you get it as tight as you possible. You can see as soon as you have to do it in every direction, because you've got to make sure all edges are all sharp, like so. And then all the thing you've got to do then is get some, which I'm going to use 2000 grit, which is obviously a lot finer. Now what you're going to do now is actually polish the scratches out what you've put in. So you're not interested in paint anymore, and it's not going to come off or anything like that. All the thing you're bothered about is trying to get the fine scratches that you put in. That's all you wanted to do, is try and rub those fine scratches away. You're going to have to do another 5 minutes. Try in all different directions. I tend to go in a circular motion, but anywhere you want. Then once you've had 5 minutes or so with the 2000 grit, what I'm going to use then is some Maguire's all metal polish, just to try and buff it up. And all the thing you're doing, you're making them scratches finer and finer every time you do it. Just get this in a dirty rag, because it is going to get black anyway. Don't be scared, I'm putting a fair amount on. And we'll just rub in circular motion again, and you'll see straight away, literally within a minute of doing it, see how dirty your cloth's getting. So that's just showing you all bits of your wet and dry, which you can't see, but is all stuck onto the actual plate itself. And all the thing you're doing is just removing all crud off it. And this, once you've, like I said, another 5 minutes, you can see it's starting to come back now, it's shine. You're not going to get it back to perfect chrome that it was, no way on this earth, but aim is to get it to as close as you possibly can. Like you can see all crap coming out of it. So just turn your cloth until you've got a pretty clean, rinse and repeat. Now I'm doing this in actual lifetime, so you can see it don't take you all day to do it. It ain't hard work. And all the thing this is doing is just polishing that metal back up best you can get. Like I say, you're not putting pressure on, you're just doing your circular motions. And if you get a cleanish rag, cleaner rag, and just get a quick polish up, you need to magic rub, and you should be able to see Just how good that's come back up. Nearly back to the exact chrome finish as what it was. As shiny as you're going to get it. I've just got the other one to do now, and then we'll be on with fitting it. And there's your finished article, guys. Now, camera don't really give it justice. You can't see it red pop on this. It does make it stand out a little bit better. I'm happy with it anyway, so I'll be fitting them next. Right, here we go. I'm going to try and fit the Stratos Performance chain adjusters. Now Stratos actually reached out to me over my last video, which I was quite impressed with, because I were actually going to take the wheel off, and one of their guys suggested just chucking it up with a piece of wood, which that's what I've done, so I'll see whether his theory is right. But thanks a lot anyway, Stratos. Right then, so you've just got a 24mm nut at one side and an open end at this end, which all the thing we're going to do is just put a screwdriver in it. It's just something, just give it a bit of resistance just while you crack the nut off, and we'll see how we go from there. Obviously slacken your adjusters off, crack your wheel nut, and hopefully it should go fine. We will see. Now when you're putting your aluminium part back in, obviously I know you've got to have the threaded part at the bottom and facing the back of the bike. Now as you slide that in, you can see it just slips in easy as out, and it just locates nice. Now what you need to be doing then, actually the bottom of this, you've got a little locating lug which locates into the hole at the bottom of your swinging arm, which I've just found out. I just put the adjuster screw in. You don't have to screw it all the way up because you're going to have to adjust your chain and everything anyway, but you get the idea there, fellas. Now what I'm going to do is get this lined up with the actual spindle what goes through, and I'm going to leave that like that for now. I could actually just tighten this up a little bit just to stop it from flopping about. I'm not wanting to actually adjust it, I'm just taking up the slack just to hold it in place. There we go. Now what we're going to do is, as we're taking the spindle out at this side, as we're whittling this out, what we're going to be doing is replacing it with that extension bar. So as we're whittling this side out, like I've just said, what we're going to do is shove this actually through, and just follow your bolt, your wheel spindle all the way through like that, and then what that's going to do is secure your wheel. It won't drop anyway because we've chopped it up under the tyre with blocks of wood, so it ain't going to fall. And then all the thing we've got to do is rinse and repeat for this side. Obviously you've got to take the spindle all the way out, and then again your little spanner, which I've slackened these off already, and that should have come straight out. Obviously what it is, it's this little plastic cap here what's just holding it on. So what thing you need to do is just get a little screwdriver and just crack it off, and then it'll come straight out. Now what thing you need to do is just get your screwdriver, and it just pops off. That's all it was. If I would have tugged it hard enough, it would have just come straight out. So that's one side done. Easy. 10 minutes. 10 minutes, that's all it'll be. That slides back in there, so that. Put your cap and the screw back on. Well, I was gonna put it straight back on. Actually, you're just doing exactly the same as what you've done on the other side. You're not adjusting it up or anything because you haven't got your bolt through. And to be fair, once you tighten it up to your actual spindle, you shouldn't be too far out for adjusting your chain. to be right. Now what I've done, I've made a silly mistake there, just tightening it, getting giddy and going too far in. So the inner don't actually match up with wheel. See, you learn by your mistakes. Everybody does them. That's better. Now what I didn't show you, what I've done with the other side, is obviously, seeing that you've got it, you may as well use it. You get it in the kit. You get Loctite in the kit. Now the only thing you need to do is just put a little smeg on. It is liquid based, but it does actually set, and there's no oxygen. Now it doesn't set so you can't undo it, because that'd be red Loctite. So this is just a soft compound. All I think is just stop vibrations from actually loosening your screw off. Right, and then what you're wanting to do is, if I mean it's got some blue greasy crap on or whatever, but just get some copper slip or some lithium based grease or anything like that, and just coat the actual spindle again. While you've got it off, you may as well do it, because it might not come off again for another 12 months. Take the old washer off, and we'll put a brand spanking washer on, which Stratos supply you with, and get a good dab. Just get a good coating. Now this is an anti-seize and an anti-corrosion. It's something what they use on, mainly on brakes, to be fair. So you've got a high capacity heat, and just get a good coating. Like I say, you're probably never going to take it back off again, so you may as well do it while you've got it off. And just line it up, and as you're pushing it back through, as you are knocking it in, what you'll find is that the spindle's coming straight through to the other side until it meets swinging on. And then you might have to just get a little jiggle, bit of jiggly pokery. The only thing you've got to do then is just make sure that it's lined up at this side. If you just put a screwdriver in and just get a bit of a lift, you'll notice it'll just pop straight through. Once you just about get it lined up, all the thing you're doing is just getting some magic rub from the other side, and it just comes straight through. All the thing I've done there is I've just tightened this up too far, so the actual adjuster part was way off with the oil, so I've just slackened it back off again, shoved it back, lined it up with my finger, and it just pops straight back through. Obviously you're going to put your new washer, what comes with the kit, and then it's just a case of loosely tightening your back wheel. You don't want to tighten it up because you've got to adjust your chain. Now it shouldn't have really moved that far, but on the insides you've actually got lines all marked up. You've got marker lines on your swinging arm and you've got marker lines inside. Just count it back. So if you've got 3 marks at one side, make sure you've got 3 marks on the other side. Just check your chain tension, just so it's 100%. You don't want to over tighten your chain, that's the last thing you want to do, because not only does it increase the wear on the actual chain, it could end up snapping it. So obviously as your suspension travels up and down, distance between both your sprockets does change. That's why you've got to have a slight bit of slack in the actual chain to allow for this. Now to me, they are bang on. Now with your Torx bit, which is supplied, all the thing you're going to do there is just like I said, everything's just loose. You can torque it down to whatever setting you want to. I think I'll just do mine FT. That's flipping tight if you're not sure. And there you go on, guys. Literally 20 minutes. Undoing nuts, tightening nuts back up again. That's all it is. Right, as I said, like I say, just on your swing arm, you'll just notice you've got a little mark there, and then obviously you've got your ridgeline markers on your actual adjusters themselves. So if you're counting, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to back at washer. And if you look at your chain, it's not far off. You can't move that much, but it just needs adjusting a right little bit. So all the thing you're doing is just adjusting your new chain adjusters. And as you can see, as you start moving it, whether you can see or not, you'll be able to see the threads, just the markers just moving slightly. Now you don't have to go mad. And then what you need to do is, when you're happy that it's not too far off, is just check the amount of notches that you've got on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nearly 6. And then you go on to the other side and you count those as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nearly 6. If they're both the same, all the thing you need to do, you don't really need to tighten these up as yet. Once you get your chain adjusted how you want it. Now once I adjust the other side, I'll probably just take that chain up a little bit. So I'll just have to watch that tension, because it will pull it back. And then, like I said, once you've adjusted the other side and you're happy that you've got the markers straight, what you need to do then is tighten the main nut. Nip that up, well, FT it up, fizzing tight, and then just nip your adjusters up. You don't have to go by me with them, but always make sure that you lock this up first before you just nip these up, because it will adjust your chain. Whatever that's slack, it will keep on tightening your chain. Right then, guys, I hope you're happy with it, because I am, to be fair. Look better than them silly little bolts sticking out at back at swinging arms anyway. Right then, guys, see you there.